Welcome Internet to Film Theory. JRS. Today we're talking about the man, the myth, the legend Julius Caesar. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. Picture this. Rome, 100 BC. A child is born into a world of power, politics, and prophecies. This child is none other than Julius Caesar. Born into the Julii, an old but not particularly wealthy patrician family, young Caesar had a taste of nobility without the accompanying riches. His early education, steeped in the classics and rhetoric, showed signs of a sharp mind and a persuasive tongue, both of which would serve him well in the future. As a teenager, Caesar entered the complex and ruthless world of Roman politics. His early political career was marked by an ambitious streak and a knack for forming advantageous alliances. Even in these early days, his charisma and cunning were evident, setting the stage for his meteoric rise. From these humble beginnings, no one could have predicted the heights Julius Caesar would reach. Fast forward to the year 60 BC. Julius Caesar, now a man, forms a political alliance known as the First Triumvirate. Julius Caesar, Pompey the Great, and Marcus Licinius Crassus, three of the most powerful figures in Rome, decided to join forces. This pact, known as the First Triumvirate, was a masterstroke of political maneuvering. It allowed Caesar to secure the consulship in 59 BC, and subsequently, a governorship in Gaul. Gaul, today's France and Belgium, was a wild and untamed land, yet rich in resources and potential for glory. Caesar spent nearly a decade there, leading his legions from victory to victory, subduing the fierce tribes and expanding the Roman Republic's territories. Meanwhile, back in Rome, Caesar's influence was growing. His victories in Gaul brought him wealth and glory, and his letters to the Senate, filled with tales of bravery and conquest, made him a hero in the eyes of the Roman public. His popularity was skyrocketing, and he was becoming a political force to be reckoned with. However, not everyone was pleased with Caesar's rise. His growing power threatened the status quo, and the Senate, composed of Rome's elite, began to see him as a threat. Yet Caesar was no ordinary opponent. He was shrewd, charismatic, and backed by the unwavering loyalty of his legions. The end of the First Triumvirate came with the death of Crassus in 53 BC. Pompey, who had once been Caesar's ally, aligned himself with the Senate, setting the stage for a power struggle that would change the course of Roman history. But that's a tale for another time. For now, let's revel in the audacious rise of Julius Caesar, a man who dared to dream, a man who dared to conquer. With each passing year, Caesar's star was rising higher and higher. But with great power comes great jealousy, and the stage was set for a dramatic showdown. With the breakdown of the First Triumvirate, Julius Caesar found himself on the brink of conflict with Pompey, the man who was once his ally. The political landscape of Rome was changing, and the fight for control was about to get bloody. Caesar's decision to cross the Rubicon, a small river in northern Italy, in 49 BC, would come to symbolize a point of no return. This bold move was essentially a declaration of war against Pompey and the Roman Senate. It was a gamble, a throw of the dice, but Caesar was never one to shy away from risk. The Rubicon was more than just a river. It was the line between political rivalry and civil war. The civil war that followed was a turbulent period in Roman history. This wasn't just a battle between two powerful men, it was a clash of ideals. Pompey represented the old ways, the traditional Roman Republic, while Caesar was the face of a new political order. The war raged on, and in the end, Caesar emerged victorious. With Pompey out of the picture, Caesar was now the undisputed leader of Rome. He was named dictator, a position that held absolute power. It was a title that had been used sparingly in Roman history, only in times of crisis. But Caesar took it a step further. He was declared dictator in perpetuity, effectively making him ruler for life. This was a significant shift in Roman politics. The Republic, a system that had been in place for centuries, was being replaced by a dictatorship under Caesar. The decision was controversial, to say the least. But it was also a testament to Caesar's power and influence. Julius Caesar had defied the odds and emerged from the Civil War as the unrivaled leader of Rome. His rise to dictatorship marked the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of a new era in Roman history. But as we'll see, power can be a double-edged sword, and Caesar's reign was far from smooth sailing. Now at the helm of Rome, Julius Caesar was not just a conqueror but also a reformer. This man was a master of change, and he knew that to build a lasting legacy, he needed to bring about significant reforms. One of the most enduring changes he made was to the Roman calendar. Prior to Caesar, the Roman calendar was a chaotic mess, often manipulated by politicians for personal gain. But Caesar, with his keen mind, decided to reform it. He introduced the Julian calendar, a solar-based calendar that was far more accurate than its lunar-based predecessor. With 12 months and 365 and a quarter days, it was a vast improvement. It's a testament to Caesar's genius that our modern Gregorian calendar is only a slight tweak on his original design. But Caesar wasn't just about numbers and dates, he was also a patron of culture and learning. He dreamt of creating public libraries throughout Rome to spread knowledge and education. Although he didn't live to see this dream realized, his vision laid the groundwork for the great libraries of the Roman Empire. Perhaps one of the most radical reforms Caesar implemented was extending citizenship to those living in the farthest corners of the Roman Empire. In a society where citizenship was a privilege, this was a revolutionary move. By extending citizenship, he brought diverse peoples under a single Roman identity, solidifying the strength and unity of the empire. Caesar's reforms were not just about improving the workings of the empire, but also about consolidating his power. He knew that by making these changes he was transforming Rome into an entity that was more resilient, more cohesive, and more capable of enduring the test of time. In his time as dictator, Caesar implemented changes that would shape Rome and the world for centuries to come. His reign was short but impactful, and his reforms, as controversial as they may have been, were testament to his vision, his audacity, and his unyielding ambition. Despite his achievements, not everyone was pleased with Caesar's rise to power. In the heart of Rome, whispers of discontent began to echo in the corridors of power. A conspiracy was brewing, one that would shake the very foundations of the Roman Republic. At its helm were not foreign invaders, but the very men who walked alongside Caesar in the Senate. They were senators, Republicans, men who felt threatened by Caesar's growing power and popularity. The name of Brutus, a man considered as a friend by Caesar, was among them. Now let's step back a moment. Prior to the fateful day of Caesar's downfall, he was given a warning. A soothsayer, a seer of sorts, had forewarned him about the Ides of March. The Ides, referring to the middle of the month, was a day like any other to most Romans, but for Caesar it was a day veiled in a prophecy of doom. Despite the ominous warning, Caesar, ever the pragmatist, dismissed it as mere superstition. He had survived countless battles, outwitted numerous political adversaries, and reshaped Rome in his image. To Caesar, the Ides of March was just another day on the calendar. But as the sun rose on March 15, 44 BC, the prophecy would come to pass. Caesar, the great general, the master tactician, the ruler of Rome, was caught off guard, not on a battlefield, but in the Senate. His trusted allies, the men he considered his brothers in arms, turned against him. With a flurry of daggers, they struck him down in a brutal spectacle of betrayal. In the eyes of his assassins, they were liberators, saving Rome from the clutches of a would-be king. But the aftermath of Caesar's death was anything but liberating. It plunged Rome into a tumultuous period of civil war and unrest, setting the stage for the end of the Roman Republic and the dawn of the Roman Empire. In a twist of fate, the man who seemed invincible was brought down by his own people. Julius Caesar's life was a saga of ambition, power, and betrayal, but what of his legacy? Caesar's story didn't end with his death, it merely turned a page. His life and untimely demise triggered a series of seismic shifts within Rome, leading to the crumbling of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian, later known as Augustus, took up his mantle and maneuvered his way to absolute power. The Republic, already weakened by civil war, could not withstand this final blow. The Roman Empire rose from its ashes, marking a new chapter in world history. Caesar's reforms, his vision for Rome, and even his assassination were catalysts to this transition. His influence resonated through the centuries, impacting the way we perceive leadership, governance, and even calendar systems. Julius Caesar, a man born into a world of power and politics, left it having changed the course of history forever. His legacy, like his life, is a testament to the enduring power of ambition and vision. Alright, thanks for watching. It's been JRS and I am out. Peace. Subscribe and hit that like.